Thank you for coming to this meeting with me. And we're gonna go over your post-observation stuff.
Okay,
How's your week been?
that's good. It's been snowing, so it's pretty out.
Yes, it is.
I like the snow.
It's supposed to warm up next week.
Oh, I hope not. I like the snow.
Do you like the snow?
I don't want the mud.
Also true, also true. Any plans for the holidays?
No, just relaxing.
Same here, we usually have hockey, but we don't this year, so
Oh,
that's
that's good.
exciting, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, let's get into it. Do you
Alright.
believe the intended learning took place for the class that I watched?
Yes, I think the students did well, and they followed along. I thought it was a good lesson for them.
How do you know that they learned what you taught?
Well, I did a couple of problems with them and guided, and then I put one up, and then I wandered from student to student around the room, kind of watching to see if they were getting it, and majority of the students did. If they didn't, I stopped and talked, and kind of lead them through that one. And then I'd ask volunteers to go to the board and not do the whole thing, but steps of the thing.
How do you think the lesson went?
I think they enjoyed the lesson, cause it was investigating and finding things, a new way to look at graphing and how to do it, so. It wasn't the boring solve for X all the time, it was introducing X and Y, so they kinda liked that challenge of it.
What specifically do you think went well?
I think they understood that when you combine like terms, so they've already done polynomials, they've solved for X, so now when you look at solving for Y, now they're like, oh, I can put those together, so that it's combining the two units together, even though it's entirely different unit, they were catching on that, oh, we did something like this already. So it was kinda nice to lean back to prior knowledge, so they weren't getting overwhelmed.
If you had to do this lesson again, would you do anything differently?
Yes, improve my wait time, and maybe call on students instead of just letting them shout out the answer, because I have a bad habit of that. I just let the same kids, and they'll just answer, and the other ones will sit there in the corner and look around, I'm like, don't call on me. So I do have a bad habit of not calling on kids, but I want them to feel comfortable, so I let whoever's willing to answer. So, but my wait time is really bad. I think they should already have the answer, so I just let them go.
A lot of people struggle with that.
Mm-hmm. And then I get caught up because I'm wandering too much, and I kind of lose track of time, so, yeah.
You definitely move around the room.
I get my steps in.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Okay, so let me start by saying that your students are lucky to be in this class. You definitely have an awesome team of teachers who clearly work well together, and the students look at all of you as equals,
Mhm.
which is really co-teaching at its best.
Yes,
So
it
thank
is.
you for that. You also have an amazing rapport with the students. It's very clear that you've taken the time to get to know the students. You were standing at the door greeting them when they came in. You asked a couple of them about their hockey game last
Yeah.
night, and then the Friends of Rachel Club meeting, how that went. And getting to know the students is a great way to continue to build those relationships, which are so important. Another thing that I thought was great was how well your students knew your procedures. From the moment the students walked in the door, they knew what to do. They grabbed their calculators, got their materials out. The young men that didn't have a pencil didn't cause you any issues. You just gave them a pencil, which is great because some teachers can get irritated by this, and then it causes some friction in the class. So keep that up.
It's a losing battle, so
Yeah.
you just hand it out.
Yeah, if you run out of pencils, we have more in the office.
Well, good to know.
I love how you had the I can statement on the board and read it out loud so the students saw it, wrote it, and heard it.
Mhm.
That's very important, so they know the learning objective and what they're expected to learn throughout the class. I also love how you projected the timer on the smartboard so the students knew exactly how long they had to complete the bell ringer.
Mhm.
That's an effective way to keep the right pace in the class. I was impressed at how the students got right to work. You did a great job walking around the room, looking at papers, and providing feedback to the students. You continued to walk around the room looking at students' work throughout the lesson and while they were working.
Mhm.
Keeping that close proximity with the students helps keep them focused and on task. I don't feel as though you favored one side of the room or the other,
Oh, that's
which is
good.
something you asked me to watch
Mhm.
for. You also mentioned that you didn't feel as you gave enough positive feedback. I beg to differ.
Okay.
You said things
Thank
like,
you.
doing well, nice job, you guys are pros at this, you guys are very good at talking through the steps, and great job, keep going, and that's just some of it. That positive feedback is so important for the students, especially after the past year and a half these kiddos have had,
Mhm.
so keep it up. During the lesson, virtually all students were engaged in challenging content through well-designed learning tasks and suitable scaffolding that fully aligned with the instructional outcomes.
Okay.
The pacing of the lesson provided the students the time needed to intellectually engage with and reflect upon their learning and to consolidate their learning and understanding. Students served as resources for one another when they were working on the assignment, which is great.
Mhm.
Assessment is fully integrated into instruction throughout extensive use of formative assessment. Students also completed the exit ticket, which will be used to determine if students met the learning target.
Yep.
You gave a variety of feedback that was accurate, specific, and advanced their learning. You used questions and prompts throughout the lesson to diagnose evidence of learning by individual students. You also really seized opportunities to enhance learning and successfully adjust and differentiate instruction to address individual student misunderstandings. When you noticed a few students were making the same mistake, you called everybody's attention to the board to go over the problem with the whole class.
Yep.
Lastly, you don't let your students give up. Instead, you take the time to work with them one-on-one until they get it, which is super important for their learning. During your pre-conference, I talked a little bit about some things you asked for, but you also asked for feedback on cell phone usage, if you favor one side of the room or the other, if you equally look at both sides of the room, and
Mhm.
what students were called on. So let's start with cell phone usage. That's always a problem.
Oh, yes, it is. And they're sneaky. They're like this.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, They
Mhm.
are. I noticed 3 students were on their phones during class, which it really isn't that bad.
Mhm.
Nicholas was on his phone 3 times, Cadence once, and Andre, who came in late and shouldn't have been on his phone at all, was using it 5 times. In all cases, you quickly asked them to turn them off. You might want to consider something like having the students put their phones in the front of the room or in the calculator holder during class, so they are not distracted and disrupting your teaching.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll look for that. Yeah.
Or maybe even a phone call home
Yep.
to explain how the cell phone is disrupting their child's education,
Mhm.
and maybe they can have a discussion with their child too to help support you.
All right.
But as I said already, you were on it. Like as soon as you saw it, you asked them to put it away. So that was really good. Like I said earlier, you do a great job looking at all the students, talking to all the students, walking around the room. So I don't think one side of the room was getting favored over the other at all.
That's good.
You did call on 6 students in the class, and then 2 of them you called on twice, and it was students that had their hand raised, and they
Mhm.
raised them pretty quickly, like they anticipated your questions.
That's why my wait time's bad.
Well.
Because they're ahead of me.
This is the evidence the data that I collected during
Okay.
your observation. So, the scribbles here is your path around the room, which you definitely move around the room a
I
lot.
do move.
For sure.
Mhm.
1 through 8 is who you helped during the bell ringer,
Okay.
and then 9 through 26 was during instruction. I thought I was gonna have to get another paper out and start doing a different path for you.
Yeah, I roam.
So that's the cell phone,
Yep.
and then feedback, like,
Oh, cool.
yeah, you gave a lot of positive feedback, you're very good at that. And then those are the students that you called on,
All right.
and then I put their wait time next to it.
Oh, nice.
So, what do you make of that?
Well, I didn't keep them waiting once they raised their hand, so that was good. So, I'm amazed at my feedback. I didn't realize, I think it's just ingrained that I don't think of it, I just say it. So I think I don't do it in classroom, so that's amazing I say that much.
Mhm.
I think I need to, call home on Andres though. I think I'll do that. I like that suggestion. I didn't even think about that one. I hit everybody.
Mhm. Some of them even twice, a bunch of them twice, actually. that probably is why your relationship in there and rapport is so great with the students, cause you're actually interacting with them daily.
Well, I don't want anybody to feel left out or lost, cause some of them won't ask for help. So if you
Right.
stop by and just kinda look, you can say, right here, you're doing, okay, keep going.
Right.
You know, just kinda do it nonchalant and just keep going.
Right, they just kinda sit there and wait for
Yeah.
you to come over.
Mm-hmm.
So your wait time is definitely
Yeah.
an area that we can work on,
Oh, yes,
helping you out with.
definitely, yeah, that's a, yeah. And some of them are, like you said, they'll answer before I even finish the question, it's like, give me a
Right.
second,
Right.
let somebody else think.
For sure.
Yeah, and then I'll just keep moving on because I had the answer, and it's like, oh crap, I didn't give anybody else a time to process before I moved on to the next thing. So, yeah,
Okay.
wait time is a.
I'm
well,
here
we
to
can
help
work
you
on
out,
that. Well,
we
thank
can
you.
work on it.
Thank
So I have a couple of articles for you to
All right.
read as we work
Perfect.
on that actually, cause
Oh,
that's
nice.
what I identified as an area we could work on too. So, this article here is for you to read about wait time and how to work on that and improve that. So I'd like you to read that and reflect on it.
Okay,
And then I have another article that I'd
and
like
we
you to
can
read.
meet back and go over,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can help me with suggestions and
Mhm.
stuff. Oh,
Another
thank you.
article about how to end the dropout crisis is improving.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, improving our graduation rate is one of our district's initiatives. So it's good to know the initiatives and
Yeah.
kind of gain some knowledge about those to try to help out. I know you're busy with teaching, tutoring, and your family, but if you could read those within the next week,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'd like to do a walkthrough
Mhm.
to help, continue to support you in achieving the goal of improving your wait time.
Sounds good.
I'll check back with you next Friday then,
Yeah.
is that okay?
That sounds great.
Hopefully by then you'll feel prepared for me to do a walkthrough the following week.
Yes.
Just an informal walkthrough,
Yeah,
just to see if
Yeah,
we're
just to see,
making some gains.
and that's good, just to see, keep a check and make sure I don't fall back into my old routine. That would be good.
Right, perfect.
I appreciate
perfect,
it.
perfect. Okay,
All right,
now I'd like you to take this observation packet, read it over. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
okay,
If not, you're gonna sign the bottom of the back page here,
okay,
and then return it to my office by next Friday.
next
All right.
Friday, okay,
Okay,
all right.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keep up the great teaching.
Oh, thank you. It was nice to have you in there.
It was nice to be in there.